All right, it's 7 o'clock, so I think we'll get started. My name is Dylan Tabish with Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. And tonight is a public hearing for Lost Trail Conservation Easement. I'm going to hand it off to a few other staff who are going to go through our public hearing tonight. But for anybody out there who is wanting to ask questions tonight or to comment later, the instructions are right there on the website, our Fish, Wildlife, and Parks website. And sometimes there is a bit of a lag with the meeting that's live and what's streamed by about 10 to 15 seconds. So as we're getting close to the question segment, as well as the commenting segment, you can start dialing in to get into the queue where you'll be able to provide comments or ask questions. So just a heads up, I'll make sure and leave a lot of time during those sections for folks to kind of get caught up and log into to provide questions or provide comments and ask questions. But just a heads up that if you're ready to ask your question, you might as well dial in and kind of get queued up. So with that, I will hand it off to Alan.
Thanks, Dylan, and good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Department and Fish Wildlife Commission, I would like to thank you for taking the time to attend our meeting tonight, and particularly in this new virtual format. We're looking forward to sharing information with you and hearing your thoughts on this conservation easement proposal that we're here to discuss tonight. First, I would like to introduce the other folks that are on the line here and available for questions. Chris Temple is with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. She's our habitat conservation biologist. And Mimi Woloch is our land conservation specialist. We also have our partners represented tonight for this project. Catherine Schmidt is with the Trust for Public Land, and Eric Moody is representing the landowner SSP Montana. And as Dylan suggested tonight, the meeting will be in two parts. The first, we will start with a description of the project proposal and a little more detail of what we're going to be talking about tonight, and give you a chance to ask questions so that you have a thorough understanding of the proposal and what we're discussing. And then after that, we will open it up and we'll be quiet and we will listen to your formal public testimony. The proposal we're discussing tonight is for the department to purchase a conservation easement from SPP Montana on 7,256 acres of their property located in Flathead County, northwest of Marion and adjacent to Lost Trail National Wildlife Refuge. And with that, I will turn it over to Chris Temple so she can give you a project overview in a little more detail.
Hello, everybody. Let me get this up. Okay, so I'm talking tonight about our Lost Trail Conservation Easement. And I wanted to start with making sure that everybody knows what a conservation easement is, because that's what this project is. It is not an acquisition by FWP. So a conservation easement is a voluntary legal agreement between a landowner and a land trust or government agency like Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks that limits future uses of the land in order to protect its conservation values. And FWP holds conservation easements because we want to secure wildlife habitat and we want to provide public access on these properties. And so just so everybody knows, the landowner continues to own and manage the land and pay taxes. And what they have given up usually is development rights and different things that are worth a certain amount of money. So that's where the value comes in these conservation easements. It's assessed through an appraisal of how much that conservation easement is worth based on what the landowner has agreed to give up in perpetuity. And so the Lost Trail Conservation Easement is a partner project with the Trust for Public Land. The landowner, as Alan said, is SPP Montana LLC. And at the end of 2019, SPP Montana bought all of the Weyerhaeuser land in Montana, all 630,000 acres, which included this project. And this project actually started with Weyerhaeuser. And when SPP bought this land, they were still very interested in doing this conservation easement. So we're able to move forward and we were very excited about that. And as I had said before, Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks will hold this conservation easement. Funding is coming from the U.S. Forest Service Forest Legacy Program, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, Habitat Montana, and the Montana Fish and Wildlife Conservation Trust. And as you can see on this map here, this project is directly adjacent to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Lost Trail National Wildlife Refuge. And it is also within an area that maybe some of you have heard about that is being proposed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for conservation easements within a 100,000 acre footprint here, which is the purple that's outlined. And most of this land is also owned by SPP Montana LLC. And so that you may have seen, we did scoping on this project back in early April. So we put out just a first ask for people to comment and tell us what they were thinking. So that happened in April. And then last summer, the Fish and Wildlife Service did their scoping for their much larger project. And they have also done an EA, which closed on October 15th. So they did another public comment period for that. And now we're doing our public comment period for this proposed conservation easement on 7,256 acres. So it's possible that you've seen 3 or 4 different asks for comment on this, but this is our final ask for this project and for our EA. And so the primary objectives of this project is to conserve important fish and wildlife habitat and to allow the landowner to continue sustainable commercial forest management and to maintain the non-motorized public recreation access that the property currently provides. And so this has been a very popular walk-in hunting area for years and one of the best elk hunting areas probably in our region, and is just extremely popular. And that all that will continue under this conservation easement. And then one of the other reasons Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is really interested in conserving this property is it's a really big movement corridor. There's elk that move through here. These are radio collared, GPS collared elk that were tagged by the Confederate Salish and Kootenai tribes on their reservation. And they move all the way up through this property, spend time here on the Lost Trail conservation easement area and also on the refuge, and then move all the way up to just northwest of Whitefish. And there's also a resident herd that we know a little bit less about because we haven't done any collar data for them. And so, but we know that they use that area probably year round. And it's also a movement corridor for grizzly bears that move from Glacier National Park, and some of them move all the way over to this property and wander around. And in the Cabinet Yaak ecosystem, we have been trying to reestablish grizzly bears. There's only about 50 grizzly bears right now. And some of those bears that we place there, sometimes they move all the way and go back home to the Northern Continental Divide ecosystem. But as you can see, this property is just a really important movement area for grizzly bears. And it's also lynx that move through here, and a lot of species of concern that are listed by Montana. It's just a fabulous conservation project. And so that was kind of a really brief overview. I was hoping that, if people have questions, if you've looked at the EA, you could ask me more specific questions that I will try to answer. Just so you know, our comment period is open through 5 p.m. on November 8th. Here is the link at fwp.mt.gov to find where you can find the EA, and also you can comment through the portal there, or you can email me directly at ktemple@mt.gov. And if you have any questions, because really you have to write written comment, except for through this public hearing, we're taking comment where people just give us a comment. We usually want written comment. And so those are the 2 ways to do it best. But if you just have questions later that you don't want to ask in this format, this is my phone number, so you can give me a call. So I think, Dylan, with that, we're ready to open it up for questions, and we'll give time for it to all catch up for the people that are watching the webinar and are 15 minutes behind us.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So yeah, I've kind of shared my screen now that shows some instructions for folks who would like to ask any questions. So right now is an opportunity for questions. And something I forgot to mention in the beginning is once you are kind of within the Zoom meeting, if you've called in or if you click the link and you have a question, please press *9 and that will virtually raise your hand, and that will let me know that you have a question. So kind of just pausing a little bit here to give folks a chance. Or if you're within the meeting on your computer, if you hover over your name, there's a little button that says raise hand. So for any individuals who are listening to the webinar, let us know if you have any questions, and I'll just kind of hang here for a little bit and can unmute you. So I'll just hang out a little bit longer here, kind of tracking this on what it looks like on YouTube. So yeah, we're not too far lagging behind, but just going to pause a little bit longer for anybody who may have a question. So for the individuals who are in attendees, if you have a question, raise your hand, pressing *9 or hovering over your name and clicking the raise hand button, and I'll unmute you. Otherwise, we'll pause a little longer and then move on to the formal hearing part. All right, seeing none, I think I'm going to go ahead and move us on, Alan, to you. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Dylan. If there are no questions about the project, then for those of you that would like to, we would appreciate public comments on the proposal. You could do it either now on this live feed, or if you would rather not speak up in this format, as Chris mentioned, you can also send your comments in those other ones. So just open it up, I guess, for anybody that would like to go on the record and submit a comment on the proposal we have in front of you tonight.
And like Alan had mentioned too, if you do have a comment, press *9 or click raise hand, and that will allow you to talk. So for anyone out there who may be new to this, I know it can be a little troublesome if you haven't done this before, but if you would like to provide comment for tonight's public hearing, you can call into this phone number that's on the screen. It's also on the website, and enter the meeting ID and password, or you can click on that Zoom link. And then when you are ready to comment, press *9, or you can click raise hand, and I will unmute you and let you comment. All right, so I do see one here, Alan. Jim Vincent has raised his hand. So Jim, I'm going to unmute you, and if you could please state your name, your city, and if you're affiliated with an organization.
Am I coming in through there?
Yeah, there you go, Jim. I can hear you loud and clear. Oh, you just muted yourself again. Here, I'll try to unmute you. Oh.
Let me see if I can give it another try. How's that?
There you go. Right there, Jim. That loud and clear.
Perfect. All right. Jim Vincent. Live in Bozeman right now currently, but I actually used to work there on the Lost Trail National Wildlife Refuge seasonally for the Fish and Wildlife Service a couple years ago. I think this is a super cool thing. So just kind of wanted to throw a quick comment out there about this being a really cool thing to see. I know when I first saw this, I think NBC Montana posted something about it, and I was super excited to see something like this. So that's why I'm attending this Zoom meeting tonight. But yeah, I think it's a really great thing, and I hope progress really continues on this because the whole ecosystem surrounding the Lost Trail National Wildlife Refuge is super I think valuable to so many different species. So just for the record, yeah, I think this is something that definitely should continue to go forward.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comments? I'll hang here a little bit longer. You can call into that phone number that's listed on the website and on the screen right now to provide comment, or you can click on the Zoom link that's underneath the video. And then press *9 to raise your hand if you're on a phone, or if you're on a computer, you can hover over your name and click raise your hand. And by raising your hand, that's a way for me to know to unmute you so that you can comment.
Dylan, while we're waiting, you might mention about the time delay that we experience with this system.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that, there's a little bit of a lag from the Zoom meeting that's streaming through YouTube. So there's about 15-second lag. That's why I'm kind of just awkwardly leaving the silence here, is to give folks a chance to get caught up. So if you are watching on YouTube or on our Fish, Wildlife, and Parks website, and you do want to comment, please call in to that phone number as soon as you can, or click that Zoom link, because it's a little bit lagged. So I'm trying to make sure that we give as much opportunity as possible if there's anybody out there who's wanting to comment. So call in now, and and then please, if you do, dial *9 if you're on your phone, or hover over your name and raise your hand, and that way I will know to unmute you and let you comment. So,
and if you're having trouble with this format and it's not working for you, if you go to the website, the information that's on the screen, your comments are equally valid if they're submitted either online or in writing. So any format works. We'd just really like to hear from you.
And remind me, what's the deadline to comment again, Alan and Chris?
Chris, go ahead.
It's November 8th at 5 p.m.
All right. Yeah, so I might, start wrapping up here. But yeah, as Chris mentioned, you have till November 8th. If you still have comments you'd like to provide in writing, the information is right there on our website above this video. So that is the deadline to comment.
And then I could share my screen one more time with that final.
Yeah, how about, let's do that. I will stop sharing.
Okay.
And now you have the floor is yours.
Okay, there's that information if anybody needs it. It's the website that you can go to, and you can comment right there, or you can email me at ktemple@mt.gov. And if you have questions and you'd like me to answer them, just give me a call. Here's my phone number, 406-249-7481. And like Dylan said, this comment period is open until 5 p.m. on November 8th.
So Dylan, do you see any indication for anybody else wanting to provide a comment at this time?
I don't. So I think we can close the public hearing.
Well, let me explain to them first the process. So in addition to the comment that we received tonight, any that come in writing, we will review all of those comments that we received, and then we will issue a decision notice. And we will send that out to anybody that has commented on the proposal. And that will include a recommendation for action to the Fish and Wildlife Commission that they will make a final decision on this project at their meeting on December 10th. So that's the schedule and that's the plan. Again, thank you for tuning in tonight, and we appreciate you taking the time, and Have a good evening. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.